There are moments on live television when the bright studio lights feel a little dimmer, when the familiar laughter softens, and when even the most seasoned hosts struggle to keep their composure. Today, that moment belonged to Kelly Ripa. For years, Kelly has been the heartbeat of live, the energy, the warmth, the joy that millions of viewers rely on every morning. But today, something was different. You could see it before she even said a word. A heaviness sat behind her smile, the kind of weight a person carries only when a difficult truth is pressing against their chest. As the cameras rolled, the audience leaned forward, sensing a shift in the air. Kelly took a deep breath, one hand resting quietly on the desk, the other gripping her cue cards just a little too tightly. Mark Consuelos glanced over at her, visibly concerned. This wasn't the Kelly he jokes with every day. This was a woman holding back something painful. And then, finally, she spoke. Her voice trembled, so softly that even the crew paused. Kelly began to explain that the show, their show, was facing an unexpected and emotional shakeup. Something she had known for a while, but hadn't wanted to say out loud, because saying it made it real. She looked directly into the camera, her eyes glistening with tears she was working so hard to control. She told viewers that an important part of the show, a familiar face, a beloved presence, someone who had been with them through countless seasons, would be stepping away. It wasn't the kind of departure you prepare for. It wasn't planned, it wasn't easy. And for Kelly, it wasn't just professional. It was deeply personal. She talked about the memories, the inside jokes shared off camera, the moments of chaos that only the team behind live could understand, the laughter that filled the studio long after the episode ended. She painted a picture of a workplace that wasn't just a workplace, but a family. And losing a family member, even in a professional setting, hurts. Kelly tried to continue reading from the teleprompter, but her voice broke. Just once, but enough to silence the room. The studio audience, usually full of claps and cheers, sat motionless. This was not entertainment. This was someone they loved, hurting in real time. Mark reached over, placing a comforting hand on hers, a small gesture, but one that spoke volumes. He didn't interrupt her. He didn't try to fix it. He simply let her feel the moment, because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let yourself be vulnerable. Kelly shared that the decision was made with care and respect, but even with understanding comes heartache. She acknowledged the emotional toll it had taken on her, both behind the scenes and leading up to this moment on air. She said she'd spent nights thinking about how to tell the viewers, because viewers weren't just viewers. They were people who had grown with them, laughed with them, cried with them, and they deserved honesty. The update was painful, but important. She assured fans that the show would continue, not the same, not unchanged, but with the same dedication and joy they've always brought. However, she didn't hide how deeply this transition affected her. What made the moment so powerful wasn't just the news, it was the raw humanity. Kelly wasn't the polished host. She wasn't the celebrity. She was a woman navigating loss in front of millions, and doing so with grace. As she continued, Kelly reminisced about some of the most heartfelt moments on the show. She described the times when the team held each other through personal milestones, births, birthdays, illnesses, surprises. She explained that television isn't just what the audience sees. There are unspoken bonds, connections that form when people show up for one another day after day. And now, one of those connections was shifting. Kelly paused again, brushing away a tear discreetly. She joked lightly, in that classic Kelly way, saying she promised she wasn't falling apart, even though her voice suggested otherwise. The audience laughed gently, giving her the warmth she needed. But behind that small moment of humor, the sadness remained. She explained how change, no matter how necessary, always leaves a trace. How the studio would feel different in the mornings, how the crew would need time to adjust, and how she hoped the viewers would understand the emotional weight behind her announcement. Kelly then turned to Mark, thanking him for being her pillar through the transition. She admitted that the nights leading up to the announcement were some of the hardest she'd had in a long time, not because she doubted the decision, but because she feared disappointing the people who trusted her with their mornings. Mark, in his calm and steady way, assured her and the audience that change can lead to growth. But he didn't downplay the grief. He acknowledged that Kelly had given everything to the show, and that this moment proved just how much she cared. It was then that Kelly shared a message directly to the person leaving, a message of love, gratitude, and respect. She said the door would always remain open, that family doesn't disappear, it evolves, and that she was proud, so proud, of the years they spent building live together. Her final words in the segment brought the entire studio to a hush. She said, "Sometimes we think we have forever, but life reminds us that nothing stays the same. And that's okay, because the memories stay with us, no matter where we go. This show has always been about heart, and today, mine feels a little heavier." With that, she smiled through tears, not a forced smile, but a tender one, the kind you give when you're trying to be strong, even though your eyes betray you. The cameras faded to commercial, but the room remained still. Everyone, from the producers to the stagehands, felt the weight of the moment. Kelly took a deep breath, wiping her eyes quickly before standing up to thank the crew for their support. Mark wrapped an arm around her shoulders as they walked backstage, quietly exchanging words only the two of them could hear. Moments like this remind us why audiences connect so deeply with Kelly Ripa. It's not just her charisma, it's not just her talent, it's her humanity, her vulnerability, her courage to speak from the heart, even when her voice shakes. The painful update she shared today may mark the end of a chapter for the show, but it also begins a new one. And as always, Kelly will meet it with grace, strength, and the love she has always poured into every episode. For the viewers who watched her fight back tears, who felt her emotion through the screen, who understood her pain, this moment will be remembered. Because sometimes the most powerful stories aren't scripted, they're lived.